Assalamu alaikum. We're excited to invite you to join American Islamic College's Giving Tuesday Challenge, a one-day opportunity to directly support students and help us unlock additional scholarship funds. Every dollar closes the distance between a student and their degree. Their future is worth the investment. Nearly 70% of our students rely on tuition support, and your contribution, no matter how small, helps ensure that financial hardship is never a barrier to a transformative Islamic education. Be part of something bigger. Stand with American Islamic College on December 2nd. Every gift, every single dollar fuels real stories. Students whose tuition gaps close. Scholars who mentor the next generation. Who benefits when you give? Our students. Their future. Our ummah. Our graduates go on to serve as chaplains, educators, social workers, community organizers, health administrators, and more. Your support directly fuels the next generation of Muslim leaders. December 2nd is one day, one community, one effort. Give what you can and help empower our students by achieving an accredited degree, one deeply rooted in faith, critical inquiry, and service. Because every contribution leads to a life of purpose and impact.
American Islamic College, a place where knowledge becomes transformation. Your support moves the mission forward in the work and in the world. This is more than education, it's a calling, because every contribution leads to a life of purpose.
You can see from here too.
Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings be upon everyone. And welcome to American Islamic College's 2025 Giving Tuesday live stream. Today is about impact, it's about scholarship, it's about access and making sure that AIC continues to be a place where students with every background can learn, grow, and serve with excellence. We thank you all for joining us today, and we're very excited to share the incredible work happening here at AIC and why your support truly, truly matters. Let's begin by grounding ourselves in the mission that brings us all together. And what we're going to do today, we're going to have a few topics. We're going to intersperse some video footage, various packages, and this should be a nice, loose, improvisational, easygoing program. It should take about an hour of your precious, precious time, and you could be anywhere right now, but we thank you for tuning in to us for our first live stream. So our first package that we're going to throw to the crew is what makes AIC unique.
This is a song that we sing every day. You know, the American Islamic College was established 40 years ago as a non-denominational and yet unapologetically Muslim institution of higher education that would have the highest academic standards and would serve the entire Muslim mosaic of America without differentiation. So all the different communities, all the different madhahib, everyone would be served without differentiation, including the wider society. You know, having attended the University of Notre Dame years ago and seeing what a institution that is unapologetically faith-based and yet welcoming of the world, I've seen what that looks like. And this is what Professor Al-Farouqi, may God be merciful to him, our founding president and provost, had envisioned, was an institution the likes of which had never been established in North America. And so one of the things that makes us unique is that we learn as much from each other and from our own experiences and our own situatedness within the Muslim mosaic and within society as we do from our courses. And so there's a incredible multicultural, multi-madhab, multi-religious education that comes when we walk through the doors of AIC. And that's the way we were envisioned to be from the very outset. And so that vision is a vision that we've renewed and we've expanded and that we're living every day.
Excellent. And we do that online. And we have students from 50 states and also abroad. Okay? So this is a very good opportunity, for anybody who interested in Islamic studies or MD program and other programs. They can join us online and be our student online. And I know from my students, I can see their happiness when they join from California, from North Carolina, from Florida, from New York City,
From Canada. That's right. Don't forget.
I can see their happiness in their eyes, and from their home they are joining our courses, and they are not only our courses, our doors, our hearts, our minds is open for our students, 7 days, 24 hours. So this makes us a unique, based on traditional Islamic learning, history of learning. We provide them our best to help them to educate themselves in Islamic studies, to understand Islam. Also, many of them, when they got their degree from here, they can find a job on the market too.
Excellent. I just realized that we started this broadcast and we did introduce ourselves. So I'm sorry, let me just backtrack. I'm Randall Muhammad. I serve as the CFO of this beautiful institution. And if we could just say our names and our titles real quick, we'll keep it moving.
Yeah, my name is Azlım Keskin. I'm the Director of Admissions. I've been at AIC since 2011.
She's being humble. That's our great registrar. She handles and supports our students in multiple of ways. We wouldn't be here without her, and we thank Allah for her service.
Thank you.
Romana Manzoor, Executive Vice President for Accreditation and Institutional Research.
She's also being humble because she wears so many hats. She really should open up a hat store. This sister, this really is like a seed from her. This whole idea of just doing this Giving Tuesday, so we really owe her a round of applause and a debt of gratitude. So we thank you, Romana, as well. Next.
Go ahead, Sidi.
My name is Ibrahim Özdemir. I am Vice President for Academic Affairs. I just joined this beautiful and and historical institution. Because I say historical, because AIC is the first Islamic higher education learning institution in North America, full accredited.
And that brother's also being humble, and I will just kind of say a little bit about him. He is the world's leading Islamic scholar in terms of the environment. And so we're very honored and privileged to have him here serving as our Vice President of Academic Affairs and Provost at this wonderful institution. And next, our fearless leader.
No, not fearless for sure. But my name is Timothy Giannotti. I have the privilege of being the president of the American Islamic College. I've been here and I've had 2 chapters, although Özlen and Sister Romana outrank us all in terms of seniority. They've been with this institution since its revival in 2010, 2011, and I came down in 2013 for my first chapter at AIC as the Director of Islamic Studies and the Chief Academic Officer at that time. And now I've been serving as the President of the American Islamic College for the past 5 years. And just speaking of gratitude, I just also want to say that this is not only our first Giving Tuesday live stream, but this is the first live stream we've done in our new location. So we've opened up a new campus in Rogers Park, and you can see some of the beautiful brickwork behind us. And this will be a wonderful place for us to welcome you and welcome the world as we journey forward into a new chapter, inshallah, in 2026.
Alhamdulillah. We were still dealing with the first package, so I'd like to just kind of kick this question out. When you think about AIC, what do you see that you don't see anywhere else?
Well, from my perspective, at American Islamic College, I see students from different types of students. I don't just see students, I have working parents returning to school, elders finally pursuing their lifelong dreams, young adults finding their path, and reverts seeking knowledge to anchor their new faith. So we have so many, kind of students that come here. And we are one of the two accredited Muslim-founded colleges in the United States. Our classrooms hold so many kinds of courage. The 18-year-old first-generation student, the 45-year-old mother starting over, And then, the senior auditing classes to keep learning, and, the new Muslim who simply wants to understand the deen on a deeper level. So, and every single one of them is welcomed with love, dignity, and respect at AIC. So.
Very true. Well, I just want to add a little bit about AIC's history. So, one of the reasons that AIC is a place that is for everyone, that is a dream that's been around since the 80s, since the founding of the college. So, many of you might already know, AIC was established and founded in 1981 by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which is a global body that represents Muslims from the Muslim world, Muslim countries. And so, and they were witnessing what was happening in the United States, particularly in Chicago, with how active the Muslim community was, particularly the African American Muslim community that had been in the United States for generations, well established, and on the forefront of civil rights, justice, social justice, and in particular, the African American Muslim community coming out of the Worth community that has roots in the nation. And so they were natural partners in establishing the American Islamic College in Chicago. And so I think that's such an incredible history.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why social justice is an important part in environmental justice too.
Yes.
Ibrahim is here representing environmental stewardship and environmental justice, but it's one of the reasons why social justice is woven into the fabric of our culture as an institution, is because we would not exist if it weren't for the transformative life and legacy of Elijah Muhammad and then his son Imam Muradduddin Muhammad, and their connectivity to the emancipation of oppressed, denigrated populations, the black Muslim community, the black community more generally within the United States. And so it's their activism and their societal transforming, work that caught the attention of global Muslim bodies and said, hey man, we should establish a college. And so it's one of the reasons why I think, and it also makes us very special as an institution, is that we sometimes are criticized for being too woke, but it's really, social justice is really in the DNA of this institution. And environmental justice is in the DNA of this institution. And so, we don't exist just for that Muslim mosaic. We're really here to benefit the city of Chicago, to benefit the nation, and to benefit the world.
And also next generation.
Inshallah. And
Be careful.
The next generation beyond them, with transformative education.
The scripture says that the people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Not for a lack of money, lack of resources, but a lack of knowledge, because it's that core knowledge that helps cultivate that human being to unlock the many gifts that Allah has given them, and it allows them to become a change agent in this world. And I think AIC has positioned itself in a unique position to do that with an unbiased, it's an open educational system where we're not just teaching one method, if any. It's an open Islamic story. Like may Allah be pleased, when I was blessed to go to Mecca, they don't ask you which method you belong to. You're welcome as a Muslim if you bear witness that there is no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger, and you enter that holy of holies, and you make your circumambulations with your brothers and your sisters. We're all one ummah, and I think that's what AIC really represents. And so, you've heard about AIC, it's such a unique space, and right now we really like to take a look at how that shows up in real lives and real stories. So, let's go to our next package.
How am I feeling about this new semester? Excited, but also exhausted. But it's a good kind of exhausted. Between full-time work and raising 2 kids, life is already full. But this Master's in Islamic Studies is something I'm doing for me. It's an investment in my soul, my growth, my future. And no one can take that away from me. The best part about pursuing a master's in Islamic studies at American Islamic College is knowing that the professors not only excel as academicians, but that they also have a deep mastery of the Islamic sciences, creating an environment where knowledge is pursued as a scholarly and also a spiritual act, where learning is not just about information, but it's about transformation, nurturing our hearts, our minds, our character. So, Bismillah to this new semester. Let's do it.
This is a very special time for the American Islamic College. We have been through a lot. You know, Musa and the Banu Israel and all of those children of Israel who were following him out of Egypt and into the desert, they had a 40-year period of hardship and struggle. You know, in the American Islamic College, we've had our 40 years of wandering in the desert and struggling. So we are now in a moment of God's realization of the dream of AIC. And so this is a very exciting moment for people to come on board as students, as faculty, as staff, as supporters, and as donors, as community members who are believing again in the dream of AIC, and now watching and helping, supporting the college to rise and to grow, God willing, into America's first great, independent, proudly Muslim university.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Jasmina from the Pacific Northwest. I am a full-time AIC student obtaining my bachelor's in Islamic studies, and alhamdulillah, I had the pleasure of attending Professor Usman's class this summer, rewriting the script, and it was everything that I wanted it to be that I didn't know I needed. He's very supportive and allows you to tap into that creativity that you've always wanted to do but didn't know how to do or didn't have the support. And he creates a community within your classmates, including himself. And if there is another class and he is a professor, I will sign up in a heartbeat, inshallah. Thank you for the opportunity. It was amazing to meet him and be a part of that and create beautiful relationships within my classmates as well. So thank you for the experience and looking forward to more, inshallah. Thank you.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you for your time. So this next segment, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. Why does Islamic higher education matter right now? Considering we're going through some intense times, we'd like to dig into that subject if we can.
So we have with us Tawsif Akbar, who's survived not only my classes, but has achieved his Master of Arts and his Master of Divinity, our two graduate programs from AIC. And when he was competing to be the next Muslim chaplain at the University of Chicago, he was competing against students that had earned their Master of Divinity from the University of Chicago and other fine institutions. We're very proud of Tawsif and very honored to have him with us today. So why does this matter? Why does this matter, Tawsif? You're out there making it matter.
So I think everything that's done here absolutely matters. The question of why it matters, you know, there's nothing like this. That's the first place I would start. There's nothing like the American Islamic College. A university, a liberal arts university with a very Muslim character, with the values steeped in our tradition that's intertwined with the story of Islam in America, right? Chicago is a very special place. Hyde Park, where I work, is a very special place in terms of the story of Islam in America. And it's kind of like a light. And when I think of AIC, and you know, we know knowledge is a light, but it's also a lot of what the institutions across the country that are also Muslim, that are liberal arts colleges have, that I think they miss now, is that moral and character formation, right? And that piece is something that I always carry with me. And I think any student who walks into the doors of this institution and what it is and what it is becoming and the goals and the vision that it has for the future, they can count on having that piece that's missing in these big name private universities, in, you know, even in this city, right? They're doing great work, and you might find that one professor, that one teacher who really makes a mark in your life beyond like what goes on your CV and what happens in your degree. But outside of that, the moral and character formation, that for me was a real gift of AIC for me, right? And you know, under the withering questioning of Dr. Timothy Giannotti in our philosophy class, or you know, Dr. Salam's really consistent and strong, you know, push for us to be the best we can when it comes to studying as graduate students. But on top of that, also that there's an ethics that grounds us, that there's a purpose in why we do this, right? And it's not ikhlas, it's not sincerity if we're not doing it for the purpose and the niyyah of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And I don't think you have to be Muslim or from Islamic background religiously or whatnot to really benefit from the fruits of that tree, you know.
That's right. And I think the original vision was to be absolutely, and it's our vision now, to be absolutely welcoming of anyone who wants to come and study, anyone who wants to seek knowledge. And of course, in this day and age, where universities are bending the knee one after the other to political, non-academic authorities who are requiring a narrowing, let's say, of the bandwidth of conversation and of research and of discussion, you know, we're expanding it, right? Because we really believe in that free and honest and sincere exchange of ideas. And so, you know, everyone is welcome at this table of study.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think is really beautiful about the original vision of AIC, and it's one of the things that inspires us as we renew that vision and expand that vision, is to really open this wide, because what we're offering is beneficial to everybody, right? And so it doesn't require a testimony of faith.
I think Pope Leo XIV was in Turkey, in my home country, last week. He's also from Chicago, you know.
Yeah.
He made an excellent point. He said, we cannot establish interfaith dialogue or dialogue between Muslims and Christians on ignorance, on prejudices.
That's right.
This is why I said the education is the key, knowledge is the key. So, American Islamic College here at the heart of Chicago also is a base for interfaith, for understanding, opening our door to everybody and anybody.
That's right.
For a dialogue based on knowledge.
That's right.
Based on wisdom, based on the Islamic history of learning, you know, which was, you know, in old Baghdad, in old Istanbul, in old Cairo and Marrakesh and Andalusia, Muslims, Christians and Jews, they would sit together and discuss together, and they also, you know, they wrote their books in Arabic at that time. So here we are just, you know, in this spirit we can be an Islamic institution or an American institution, you know, his doors is open to everybody.
Yeah. It's perfect that you said that, and you mentioned interfaith, which would be a great segue to allow or to ask Sister Ramona to chime in on all of the great interfaith work that she's been part of and has helped us accomplish here at college. So if you'd like to speak to that.
Sure. I wholeheartedly agree with you. We need leaders who are compassionate, and dialogue work is difficult. It's hard. It's arduous. It requires self-introspection. It requires confrontation, right? And so we should know our Islam very, very well, and we should be able to kind of stand on our own feet, be empowered, have our own agency when we come to the table, and be able to communicate, you know, well what we think is going right, and where we need more dialogue, discussion, conversation. It's a fantastic way to address issues of anti-Muslim hatred and Islamophobia, especially here in the United States. But it's also a way to just deepen bonds with a number of communities. Dr. Ghulam Asi of American Islamic College.
Yes, may God be merciful to him. Yeah.
He's with him, yes. He dedicated his for the college, relationships, fantastic relationships. They're still very strong today with other seminaries around the Chicago area, so the Lutheran School of Theology, Catholic Theological Union. And together we worked, AIC and the Lutheran School of Theology, to graduate the first American Muslim naval chaplain. And so, you know, that's what good work, teamwork with across divisions, across differences can, you know.
Absolutely, and especially in this moment when the public discourse is being so politicized and discussion about Muslims and Muslim majority countries is being so politicized, it's so important to have an American, a respected, accredited American, Chicago-based academic institution to represent Islam and Muslim perspectives, and not to say that we represent all Muslim perspectives, but that we do so with a sense of integrity, a sense of academic rigor, and a sense of dignity, so that, you know, we stand against the forces of ignorance and the forces of prejudice and bias, and stand proudly. You know, when Georgetown and Notre Dame were established, it wasn't fashionable to be Catholic in America. People thought their allegiance was to the Pope and not to the President, and that they were, you know, that they were not considered to be the real Americans. And I think Muslims in this country have a similar kind of situation right now, and we're standing proudly as Americans, as Muslims, and we're bringing into being an institution which really speaks to that identity in a cosmopolitan way, not in a narrow way, but in a very cosmopolitan way. And I think it's these winds of Islamophobia and prejudice, and they make the existence of a school like AIC all the more necessary.
We live in a post-truth era, you know. There's a flow of information through social media. Sometimes you don't know what to believe, what not to believe, but you can trust, or AIC will provide you the truth. Okay?
You remind me of, AIC is the first and oldest American Muslim institution of higher education, and one of two institutions that have been accredited.
Yeah.
And during our arduous accreditation process, I remember a group of our peers, presidents, provosts from other institutions, when they came and visited us, I think the head of that last group made a comment that really struck home for me. And she said, AIC is absolutely necessary, that there's nothing else on the landscape that remotely looks like what we look like, that's doing the work that
Excellent.
we're doing.
Excellent.
And so, we feel a void out there, and I think, the importance of higher education from an Islamic perspective is such a broad topic, because what is Islamic education? What is education? From a Muslim perspective, all of creation is Islam. So, what's the broadness of that? And so, I wonder in what ways does an Islamic-centered curriculum empower students, like what, as faculty, how do you see that?
Wow. You work with Muslim students who are part of a great institution, but as a minority. Correct. So what is the qualitative difference when you walk into a space that's like your space, where you're not a beleaguered minority or a misunderstood minority, but this is your space? How does that impact you?
It's totally night and day. I work with Muslim students. I also work with non-Muslim students, and I think that's, just as a side note, one of the beautiful things that AIC prepared me for, through its curriculum, through its chaplaincy program, was how do you provide spiritual care and counseling for all, most grounded in Islam, grounded in the maxims and the values and the example and the exemplar of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and that early group, and all of the wisdom that we have accumulated over the years, the spiritual tradition. But you're home. There's a returning that it feels natural and organic, and you're not a piece of a puzzle that's looking for a place to fit in. from day one, you step in, you're greeted with salams, right? You're greeted with hellos, you're greeted with smiles. You're sitting down, and you're looking at the curriculum and what's on there, right? And it's speaking to you. It's speaking to you, whether that's from the Islamic lens, or whether it's a book that maybe an Orientalist wrote, right? You're going to engage with that with depth, with critical, with your critical faculties, but also with a sort of a opportunity to critique it in ways that maybe don't exist on a secular campus, right? That might not be heard on a secular campus in the same way. And so, there is a sense where, like, I went to a college that was not a Muslim college before that, where I did my BA, right? There is a sense of this beleagueredness, or like, you have to be that person out there because you're a big fish in a small pond. But here, you're interacting and interfacing with folks who are coming like-minded in a lot of ways, but with unique perspectives. And you're going to be challenged still in ways that you didn't realize, right? You might be coming with one vision of what Islamic education means, and you're going to leave with a totally different and broader understanding of the depth and appreciation, I think, that sometimes even within our own communities, we don't have that. And that's why a place like AIC is so necessary for our community and the broader community, right? Yes, we talk about it as a light that, dispels ignorance, as a light that, creates vision and creativity for the future, that brings people together, that gets rid of hate and ignorance. But I also think it's one where it boosts your iman. And I don't want to lose sight of that as well. For me, that was a real gift.
How so? If you don't mind kind of digging into that.
Yeah. So just for those who aren't Arabic speakers, boosting your iman just means it makes you a more faithful person. It increases your sense of faith, your sense of God's ever-presence, and your sense of your spiritual responsibilities in the creation. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's one of the beautiful things, and one of the things that, iman fluctuates over the years, right? Like, but when you're in an environment where you're reading, to your question, Randall, you're reading the text of the tradition, and you're reading it in light of, modern commentaries. You're reading it with the perspective of the questions that the professor is sort of sparking inside of you, right? You have an interest in engaging this, and ideas are springing in your head of what you can write. How do we actually bring what's in the text to the context, into our lives, into the lives of the people we serve and we are helping, right? Those things start to percolate and generate, and a great beauty, I think, comes out of it. It is possible, right? And you also learn that you can't do it yourself. No man is an island. You have to have...
Or a woman.
Or a woman, indeed, yes. I was using it in the sense of the general...
Just trying to be a little inclusive here.
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely.
You can also about or cooperation with the seminaries in Chicago.
Absolutely, and
all the genders.
The Association of Theological Schools across Chicago, we're now engaged in an active discussion with them, so that the American Islamic College will be full partners with the Lutheran School of Theology, with Catholic Theological Union, with McCormick Seminary, with all the great theological schools that ornament the city of Chicago. And Chicago is actually a very theological city. Right? There's a lot of interesting and exciting work being done in different communities across the city, and we're a part of that conversation. And one of the liberations that I feel here is that within a faith-based environment, we can talk about the sacredness of the creation. It's hard to say that in a more secular kind of conversation. We can also talk about the sacredness of the human being and the inviolability of the human being, the sacredness of the human person. And so these are just small examples of the kinds of conversations that we can have within a faith-based environment that sometimes are hard to have within a non-faith-based environment.
You made that joke, you kind of facetiously mentioned ancestors and our sisters. But that kind of makes me think about many of the misconceptions that surround Islam in general.
Of course.
So I'm wondering,
as academicians, if you could kind of speak to maybe some of the misconceptions that exist in Islamic education and how does AIC work to correct them?
Well, you know, one way that we work to correct them is by we don't approach Islam as a monolith, right? Islam is a conversation that's at least most recently 1,400 years running. And so Islamic law is a conversation. Islamic ethics is a conversation. And so what does it mean to be a Muslim is a conversation, sometimes a debate. And so one of the things that we correct when people come through the door, even sometimes Muslims who come through the door coming from a very particular background, is we're confronted with the adult question of diversity, with the challenge of diversity. There are multiple ways, perhaps, of being right. There are multiple ways of looking at a text. There are multiple ways of thinking about what is the most faithful way, the optimal way for a human being to live. And so when we bring students in the doors of the college, we're bringing them into that conversation, which is not a conversation designed to like root out their faith, but it's a conversation that's designed to enrich and mature and grow their faith in a way that is truly cosmopolitan, because diversity is at the very core of who we are as a community. You know, when those accreditors came, one of their visits, they were sitting around the table and they were asking, oh, well, we get what's Islamic about this. None of them came from Muslim backgrounds. And it was, basically just a bunch of white academics who came, and they were confronted with this incredible diversity. And they said, well, we understand what's Islamic about this, but what's American about this? And I said, let's just go around the table, right? So Brother Randall's ancestors came here in chains, and may very well have come here as Muslims before it was, rooted out of them. Romana grew up in Texas, but she's of Indo-Pakistani background. Brother Tausif is also from Pakistani background. Dr. Ibrahim is from a Turkish background. Brother Bekmarat was Kyrgyz, and we went around the table, like all these different, our registrar, Sister Özlen, is from Turkey. And so we went around this table, and we had this incredible diversity. And I said, so where else do you think this would happen? Right? We not only come from different ethnic and socioeconomic backgrounds, but different interpretive traditions within the Muslim
I think we are embodiment of this verse. O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female and made you peoples and tribes that you may know one another.
That's right.
You see, we are from different backgrounds. I just remind this verse to my students in my first class. I said, I also here to learn from you.
That's right.
This is our difference. I am not here, professor, to teach you. I am also a student in this class to learn from you, because this is the Quran.
That's right.
It says, we created you different to learn from each other, talk to each other. And then with this spirit, with this mentality,
that's right,
we extend our hands, we open our heart to anybody.
That's right. And learning is a spiritual practice.
Yes. Yes.
So in a world or in a country, let's just be local, in a country that's not doing well with diversity, let's just be honest. We have white supremacism on the rise, we have intolerance on the rise, anti-Semitism is on the rise, Islamophobia is on the rise. So here we are living, embodying that kind of diversity that is not just good for the Muslims of America, but it's good for America, right? It's good for all of us to learn how to live with, not to be threatened by the diversity, but to be enriched by the diversity, to be enlightened by the diversity.
Honored and celebrated.
That's right. And so that's one of the really wonderfully unique things. Even though we're small, we are incredibly diverse, and we embody the kind of diversity that I think, America really needs. And I'm not talking about everyone converting to Islam. I'm talking about just the fact that the way we live together as a family. And I know Brother Randall always addresses us in his emails as family. That's such a powerful thing, right? For somebody who grew up white and in Oregon, one of the last states to allow black people to come and to reside, like for my black brother to address me as family, this just speaks to the kind of spirit of what we live and embody at AIC. I never said that to you.
Wow. I think think that's a great segue to just remind everyone, please continue to give. One thing, this wonderful education institution that's providing that education, we want you guys to know, the average tuition here for a student for 1 year is roughly $10,000. And it costs our institution over $41,000 to educate that one student. So we just want to encourage you to just continue to give, and kind of keep in mind what our prophet, peace upon him, has taught us, that charity extinguishes sin, just like water extinguishes fire. Wow. So we want to continue to give to a worthy cause. I mean, we spend money on foolish things all the time. I need this new coat, I like those shoes, I want that car. But we're talking about the transformation of human beings. What more noble cause is there?
That's right.
Like that?
Wow.
Man, this is incredible.
In fact, this is, when we look at the Islamic civilization, from India to Morocco, from Andalusia to Jakarta, throughout history, it is, donors who supported students, who support scholarships, who opened their homes, to scholars, to students. And they created this civilization, not the governments. This civil spirit, as you said, the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ shaped their mentality, shaped their how to spend their money. Okay? For example, when you visit Istanbul or Damascus or Baghdad, you will see a lot of waqfs, as we just
endowments.
Have endowments. We have a wonderful conference with the waqfs endowments in India. And how it is important. So one thing about the waqf, they support the students. Students, let's also remember him, T.B. Irving, or former one of our dean and also one of the fathers of the AIC. He said, the best way is to help students, to invest in education. And he said, I made my translation of the Quran, the first translation of the Quran in North America with a North American, discourse. He says it is just to help the next generation of Muslim leaders in this country, in North America. Now, when I was listening to my brother's Tawsif, I just say, I wish he could see that, this is a concrete example of this, So if you want to see more students, more leaders like Tawsif in North America, support our scholarship program.
I think everyone who's watching this live can see how deeply this subject matter touches us all, and how committed we are to this endeavor that we've embarked on. I think we should move to our next package, because we've shown you our commitment, but we'd like you to see, how this commitment plays out with our students and our school partners.
What did you think about the experience here today?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I love the environment here. It was really nice.
I love how everyone over here was so hospitable.
I love all the staff here. I really enjoyed it, yeah.
Everyone was so sweet.
Everything that you guys do, you will be rewarded for it.
Yeah.
Good vibe. That is really great.
There is, in the whole world, there is no institution like AIC. We are so diverse. We are theologically diverse. We are culturally diverse. We're linguistically diverse. We are diverse socioeconomically. We are the Muslim mosaic under one roof, as one team, working for one shared goal. Just look at how we interact with each other and how many languages are represented in our small staff and in our students, and how we every person who comes to our door, regardless of their faith or their interpretive tradition, even within Islam or beyond Islam, they come with dignity in our doors, right? They come with dignity, they come with respect, they're welcomed as part of this family that is together really pursuing something better for ourselves, for our communities, for our families, and for our world. And I really say that, we are proudly Muslim, but we're here for the benefit of everybody.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Sophia and I'm a graduate student here at AIC, working on my master's in Islamic studies. I'm looking forward to continuing to connect with other students that share a passion for learning and growing in faith, just as I do.
And we are back, and so we have a switch in our guests, and I'd like to introduce someone who's become very dear to AIC. This is our dear sister, Stephanie Mirza. If you'd like to kind of introduce yourself and kind of talk about the work that you're doing with us.
Thank you, Randall. Assalamu alaikum. It's nice to be with you and join this esteemed group of gentlemen here. I'm Stephanie Mirza. I'm the Student Support Services Coordinator at American Islamic College. I also work with alumni, which Tausif is a representative here of our alumni. And what is there to say? We have such a diverse group of students because they're not limited to geography. So our students come from all over the country and they're doing all sorts of things. Like Özlem was mentioning earlier, some are stay-at-home moms who wanted to finish their degree. Some are in the military actively serving and they want to become chaplains for the military, or chaplains like in universities or prisons or schools, or hospitals. So our students are by nature in the community, and whether that's at home with their kids and shuttling them to school and taking classes in the afternoon online with AIC, because it's a completely online degree, it opens the possibilities for so many more students than just would be served here in Chicago.
Wow.
And one of the beautiful things that you bring to AIC, Stephanie, is that you really make each person feel like they matter. You know, the American Islamic College, we've talked about, why AIC. One of the unique things about the American Islamic College is that no student is a number. Every student is known by name, every student's situation is known. For a lot of our students, I think 70% of our students are receiving financial aid and support from the college, and so even their financials are known. And so when you're at AIC, you're part of a real human community. And one of the things that Stephanie does is she checks in on everybody. She even checks in on faculty and staff, but she checks in on everybody. And so there's just a beautiful...
Keeps them updated, informed
about
new scholarships,
new opportunities,
new job openings, anything, everything.
Whatever they need. And so if they're having trouble with writing, if they need writing support, if they need any kind of support, like Stephanie is really there for them. And so this to me is such an important aspect of our academic and community life, and you really represent it in such a beautiful pastoral spirit. So we're saying things today to each other that we never get to say outside of Giving Tuesday, but they should be said. And so I just want to acknowledge that about you, Stephanie. You make everybody feel like they matter, and that's a beautiful.
That's right. All right, everybody, this is heating up. I want to pass one more question to Tausif, where I think he'd be in the best position to answer it, but we need 20 more donors to give. We want to make this appeal to you. Please give $5 more at the minimum. Your support really makes a difference, and it really helps us with our mission and vision to continue to provide this wonderful education that we're striving to provide. So I wanted to kind of throw this at you, Brother Tausif. Sure. We talk a lot about what happens in the classroom, but what does AIC's impact look like once people leave campus?
That's such a wonderful question. Thank you for that. I could speak from my personal experience as well as some of the people who became my friends and colleagues and people I keep up with who have graduated and are doing wonderful things that they're doing. So for me, I didn't even know what chaplaincy was, or I had an idea that maybe I would go into academia, become a professor like Dr. Giannotti, or now the president.
God you're an inspiration, brother.
Very inspiring. Dr. Jawad Qureshi or Talat Pasha, all of the wonderful people who I had the opportunity to learn from. But then come to find out what chaplaincy is, and the history of it, and how it really combines the beautiful aspects of our tradition with a way to kind of live this meaningful and purposeful life, inshallah, and like hopefully may Allah accept, the efforts. And also, the very real question that a lot of students walking into AIC or any institution are going to ask is like, how can I support a family or have a career? Or, I have this love of learning, I have this love of the Islamic tradition. How do I translate that into a vocation or a career or something beyond that? Yeah. And I really had the opportunity to talk to so many of the faculty and the staff about that here, and really learn about my options. And folks like Stephanie and Romana, who would always share about the opportunities that exist, and really those are so vital. I know a number of fellow students who have graduated, alumni who have gone on to take up those, kind of opportunities, employment opportunities that come up in the newsletters that are available that they might have missed otherwise. But the impact is, for me personally, I'm working with students, with the next generation, 18 to 22, also graduate students, Muslim, non-Muslim, and just realizing and reflecting back on, like, I'm now in the position, in a way, of Dr. Giannotti and Dr. Salem and Talib Pasha and so many others, and Omar Awas, of seeing that it's really a gift to be able to be in that position, to nourish and support this next generation, and all the obstacles that may come in their way, of like whether that's grief, whether that's a crisis in the home life, whether that's anxiety over career and vocation, whatever it may be, to attend to that. I feel prepared. That's the impact that's finding its way like a garden outside of AIC, I think, inshallah, with the other souls that we encounter, and we pray that we do our best, right? That's all we can do. And then with alumni, I know people who have gone from AIC to graduate programs, to PhD programs, who are currently enrolled in them, who work in city government, or, are having a tremendous impact. And so I always, I go back to the keynote, and this is the last thing I'll say as I keep sorry going on.
No, that's okay.
Is, Chaplain Abu Nur Abdul Malik Ryan, he gave the keynote at my graduation, and he spoke about the blessings at the beginning of things. And this is a time in which there's a renewed vision for AIC, right? There's a renewed energy, right? There's everything in, we have a new campus, right? We're in the heart of the city still, but there's a new campus. There's a completely accredited accreditation. And so I would just encourage everyone, get in on the blessings at the beginning of things.
Come on.
Because then, when this is just running, you can look back and reflect on your part in playing and supporting this institution, this great institution.
I think that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that, today we're really focusing on supporting students. So we're raising money to go for students, to support students. What role did the institution's investment in you, meaning would you have been able to do these 2 degrees if the university, if the college was not there and willing to invest in you?
Absolutely. It was the perfect opportunity. It kind of fell into my lap, I feel, as a blessing, right? It's not a coincidence, but I would not have been able to accomplish what I've accomplished, and I feel personally a great debt to AIC, to the teachers, to the staff, to the facilities, to everything that was put in place, because there's a care behind it, right? That doesn't necessarily always get seen or appreciated, and without, folks helping me, like Oslin, through the portal,
absolutely,
the Populac portal, getting things uploaded in time for them to be graded, having that one-on-one connection I can't speak enough about, where the office hours are open and you can go and you can discuss and you can ask your questions and you can get feedback. Critical to my journey, I would say. I came in a time where it was a scholarship, right, on offer, and the fact that was available made my ability to completed, that much more easier. You know, not that I wouldn't have invested in some sort of the education that I got, but at that time, it played a pivotal, critical aspect. And I think, you know, you're still going to find it's only $10,000 a year. I'm hearing you have FAFSA, you have all these other things. Again, there's nothing like it, I think. You know, and it's courageous that this is happening at this time.
I really think based on, see, everyone has to kind of keep in mind that this is completely unscripted. It's very heartfelt and genuine testimony. Absolutely. And we appreciate what you've said, you know, and so we'd like to now hear one more story that really captures that same spirit and go to our next package.
Thank you for tuning in and considering supporting American Islamic College on Giving Tuesday. Look, I'm sure there are lots of worthy causes out there to support, and this is certainly one of them. And you should support as many as you can, even with small donations. But definitely give a good thought to American Islamic College. It's a worthy cause. It's very, very important to support higher education in the United States, around the world, but in the United States. Part of what higher education does is it helps the community take control of its own narrative. So we create our own leaders, our own leaders. We cultivate our own ideas. We strengthen our culture. And so we don't let others define who we are, but we define who we are ourselves. And there are many different Muslim institutions of higher learning that are coming up in the United States and around the world. But in the United States, this is one, American Islamic College, that is non-denominational. And so it's not beholden to any particular group or creed or sect within Islam, but it's welcoming to all who identify as Muslim. And this can be difficult to negotiate, contentious, but nonetheless an academic environment really thrives in an environment that is or thrives in an approach that is in some ways uncommitted. And so this is a committed college, committed in Islam, but that's uncommitted to any particular expression of Islam, but it teaches them in the Islam in its multiformity, in its historical context, and it studies the formation of various expressions of Islam through history in different societies, including in the United States. There's great promise and potential that this college has. It's had its ups and downs, but it's recently been accredited, which is a tremendous achievement, in addition to Zaytuna College, which was accredited, although opened its doors later, but became accredited first. American Islamic College opened its doors earlier, but it had its ups and downs, some tragedy in the history as well, with the brutal murder of its original founder, Dr. Ismail al-Faruqi, Allah yarhamhu. But has, with all its ups and downs, has been making a comeback, has a wonderful, wonderful faculty, highly qualified faculty, terrific staff, really wonderful people. You should visit if you can. But definitely look at its programs, its outreach, and its most of all its potential. Really, we're building this together, and so join in this venture with the wonderful people who are curating this extremely important institution for the future of Muslims and of Islam in the United States, in the West, but also for our community everywhere, all around the world. So thanks again for tuning in. If nothing else, small donation, but if nothing else, keep us in your prayers. That's the most important. May Allah bless you this season and through all seasons. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Pillars of Promise Luncheon. We are here today at the Spirit of Navy Pier to thank all of our donors and supporters who have helped AIC move its mission forward. We couldn't do this work without them. This is a community effort, a collective, a collaboration, and so we are just so pleased and honored that we could just share in this moment together and celebrate all of the wonderful accomplishments and our future aspirations, inshallah. So thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you truly to one and all who spent this time with us today. We'd like to just thank everyone from our administration, to our faculty, to our students, the alumni, our board, our tech crew working behind the scenes, and just everyone who's been a part of this and made this happen. But it would be inappropriate, and I know really a slap in the face of all of the hard work that our president has been doing. We'd like to give him the last word on this wonderful, wonderful expression of giving.
Wow. I also want to give thanks to all of the donors who have really invested in this vision and mission, which is for the benefit of everyone, not just for the Muslim mosaic of America, but for the benefit of everyone and for the future of humanity. You know, we are hurtling toward a crisis, an environmental crisis, the likes of which we haven't seen since the dinosaurs were wiped out. And we are now grappling with the rise of populism and fascism and racial supremacism and religious supremacism. And really, if it weren't for the cause of education, I think I would lose hope. But really, I think education is the solution for humankind. Education is what's going to help us learn how to live together as we come to know one another and come to see one another's humanity, so that your kids are as human to me as my own kids are to me.
That's right.
And that we can come to see one another as you know, as beings with dignity and beings that have a sacred inviolability. And the creation itself, you know, coming to see the creation as a sacred book of God, filled, woven with the signs of God, as the Quran says. really the first revelation given to humankind is nature itself, is the creation itself. And so we need to reconnect with one another's sacredness. We need to reconnect with the sacredness of the creation, and education is the primary way in which we can do that. Again, now education understood not informationally, but education understood transformationally, meaning that knowledge should change us. It should enrich us. It should make us wiser. It should make us nobler. It should make us more mannered. It should make us more respectful. It should make us more responsible for one another and for the creation itself. And one of the beautiful things that's happening here at AIC is that, we're not working in a silo. We are eagerly welcoming partners all across the planet. We've just signed MOUs with Malaysia, and we're working on projects with Indonesia, chaplaincy projects with Indonesia. We're working with Turkey, we're working in Pakistan, we're having conversations with the Sultanate of Oman, we're working with people all over the world, but we're also working with folks right here in Chicago, and who are collaborating and partnering with us. And one of the fruits of that collaboration is our new Zakat-based financial aid program, which is a form of financial aid which does not involve debt. So it means that students who can show a demonstrated need for financial aid can receive that aid in a way that is truly an investment in their education, an investment in their lives, an investment in their ability to be change makers and to lead with purpose and with impact, and to go out into the world not encumbered by debt, but empowered by their education and by that deepened sense of purpose and responsibility that education brings. And so we're very, very honored to be working with Zakat Chicago, which is part of the Chicago, I always get it wrong, CIOGC, the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago. So Zakat Chicago is a proud partner with us, as are our proud partners with Catholic Theological Union, with the Lutheran School of Theology, and with so many others that we are working hand in hand with to try to make this city a more livable, more luminous space, and to make this country and to make this world a better place. And so I just want to give a shout out to all of our partners across the world, and all of our partners here in Chicago, and all of our donors, including the family that has made this new campus in Rogers Park possible for us. That without your generous investment and contributions, and without your belief in the mission and the vision of this institution, we would not be able to do what we do. And I just want to say that we do what we do because you have been the wind beneath our wings. You have made it possible for us to do this work. And so may God bless you all. And may God bless the American Islamic College and the beautiful mission and vision that it brings to a world which is increasingly crying out for mission, for vision, for mercy, for stewardship, for responsibility. All of these things, of course, are core to why we're here. And so with that said, I want to thank everyone for being part of this. I want to thank our technical crew. I want to thank everyone on the American Islamic College team for making this a reality today. And I, Randall, you focused on me, but really none of this would be possible without the selfless sacrifice and inspired activism of everybody on the team. And I'm so honored and so privileged to be sitting with you and to be working with you and to be proudly seeing our students become teachers and our students become leaders, so that we can know that the next generation in the world is in good hands with God's help and blessings. So may God bless you all, and thank you for being with us. And God willing, good things will come, and let's wait with great anticipation and great faith, with joyful hope for the great things that God will do with us and through the American Islamic College. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Emma Merchant. I'm a student at AIC in the chaplaincy program. I am doing a Master's of Divinity in Islamic Studies. There's a broad range of the professors. MashaAllah, they show a very deep and thorough understanding of their subject. They inspire us to do our best. They give us the skills necessary to be the best Muslim chaplains, inshallah, for the future. I like the classroom interactions, the participation. I am getting to know many colleagues in my classes and hope to acquire networking. And all in all, AIC is very convenient, is a wonderful college, and it has wonderful programs, and I'm looking forward to graduate. And thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
So we are now in the midst of opening up a new theater of operations in Rogers Park on the northern tip of Chicago. I think it is the most diverse neighborhood in all of Chicago. Let me just say that it's miraculous and wondrous and full of incredible possibility, not just for the American Islamic College and for its students, but for the wider community. I'm so excited about what's coming, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Tuba Düzgün. I'm junior at AIC. Since joining AIC, I learned so much and felt truly supported. What I love most about AIC is that our professors really listen to us, each of us, value our ideas, and encourage us to think critically and encourage us to research. I feel grateful to be part of this community, and I'm excited what's ahead at AIC.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We thank you all for taking this time, but we have to remind us all that Giving Tuesday only works when each of us takes one step. Right now, before you close that window, either go to aicusa.edu/GT or scan the QR codes on your screen. Every donation, whether it's $1, $5, $10, $25, whatever that donation is, it will go to support our students, our student services, and all the wonderful activities here at the college. If what you've heard and saw today with AIC has inspired you and it helps you to believe in this work, that this work matters in the world right now, then please take that small 60 seconds to donate to us now. From all of us here at the American Islamic College, thank you for believing in this mission, thank you for supporting our students, and thank you for being a part of this wonderful community. Assalamu alaikum.